The June 13th episode of AEW Collision went all different directions in all different sorts of ways, and I'm not sure how to feel about it. So just run it. For the first time in a few weeks, we did start off instantly with a match. We got to see Omega versus Bad Dude Tito. It was a fine match, sub 10 minutes. I don't know who this Tito guy is, but he's a pretty hard hitter, and he got some good shots in. Unfortunately for him, in the end, Omega was the victor. Congratulations, Omega. He wants to continue to rise back and get to the top and probably go after the title one more time, whether it's against MJF or whoever else. I don't know. Doesn't matter. He got the victory. That's the direction he's heading. We're just going to have to watch his journey unfold. Then we got a little quickie promo in the back with Fletcher Davis and Okada kind of declaring war on Takeshita, also saying that, Proto-Okada is getting the band back together, as it were. Nothing too interesting with that. We know that they like to run their mouths, and they're going after whatever gold they can get for the Don Callis family. Then we got our first women's match of the night, which was Shida versus Zeta Steel. And the two of them went back and forth for a few minutes. Shida ended up with the victory, so she is moving on in the Survival of the Fittest tournament for the TBS title. So far, I'm not mad at this little thing that they're doing for the title. So I hope that everything with the Survival of the Fittest bracket, if that's what you want to call it, moves forward smoothly, and everybody can be happy in the end with whoever ends up victor. Then we went to the back and we got to see a little Ops promo. Wasn't anything too interesting. Hook is still considering himself the leader. He said that if any interviews were going to happen or if they wanted to talk to anybody in the Ops, to go to him. And sure, man. Sounds good. We slammed immediately into our next match, which was the Rascals versus the Atlas Brothers. It was pretty good, pretty fun. The Atlas boys got a couple decent little shots in. The Rascals did their Rascals thing, and then they got the victory and immediately grabbed a microphone, and they introduced Reed. Reed came out, and he was going up against Kevin Knight for the TNT title. It was a very good match. Both men very quick on their feet, high flyer, flippy doodah stuff. It really surprised me how well the two of them meshed in the ring. I would give it match of the night, honestly. Reed is really continuing to show what he's capable of. We already know what Knight's capable of. Knight did end up with the victory, but it was a fantastic showing for Reed. We need more Reed. I think the Rascals should go after the Trios titles. I don't see why they couldn't get their hands on them by the end of the calendar year. So, more Reed, more Rascals. Knight is still Knight, and he still has the gold for the Don Callis family. We all move forward. We followed that up with a Mega Cross promo. It was just a little video package reminding us all that they're the toughest women in the division. They hold the titles. They've beaten pretty much every team put up against them. It doesn't seem like anybody's going to take the titles away, and I agree. I think it should stay that way at least until, October at the very earliest, and even then, let's just finish out the year with them holding the titles, which then brought us into our very next match, which was Athena versus Kiara James. And it wasn't quite a squash match. Not really. I believe it lasted about 5 minutes. Athena did get the victory. She just wouldn't let up on Tiara, and it caused Maya World to come out. They had a little bit of a thing, and then Athena disappeared into the back for a second. Maya was checking on Tiara, and then Athena came back out and beat the crap out of her. So it's just your forever champion is showing that she deserves all the good, fun things. Then we went backstage again, and the Demand was taking pot shots at Takeshita. So Ricochet just wants gold. He's still very upset that he lost his national championship, but that doesn't mean he's not willing to go after something new. So he put Takeshita on notice. Then we got the Dogs versus the Bucks. Everybody knew that was going to be a ridiculous match, and it absolutely was. And it came through more than I was hoping it would. Still not match of the night. Reed still gets that, but it was solid. Both teams would not let up on each other. Both teams are very confident in their abilities as a tag team. And at the end of the day, the Dogs got the victory, which I'm not mad at. Like I said, I think 2026 needs to be the year of the heel. So the Dogs getting the victory on this, I'm very happy with. The Bucks look strong regardless, and they own the company, so they can make themselves look even stronger whenever they damn well feel like it. So moving forward, I like the Dogs being the powerhouses that they are, even when it's just down to the two of them. A lot of promos tonight, because right after the Dogs versus the Bucks, we got the conglomeration doing a thing, and by that I mean mostly Kyle O'Reilly rambling on like the silly little garden gnome that he is. But, it's basically just them saying, hey, we know that Briscoe is going to be your next world champion, and we back him 100%. That was the whole thing. 37 seconds long. We got the gist of it. We moved on quickly. But moving on, went straight into another promo because Shivani was saying something on the commentary's desk, and then Tekla came walking through the audience, and she started a whole hullabaloo there. She stood on the commentator's table, called out Stardom once more, said, send your best. I'll take him out at the pay-per-view. My spit is worth more than your roster, essentially. She spit on her hand, showed it to the camera, wiped it on Tony Schiavone's coat, and then, she posed, and everybody was like, yay! Good stuff. So that was her whole thing. We saw her later on accepting the challenge. I didn't catch the challenger's name. I'll post it here. But we do have a match for Forbidden Door between Tekla and somebody from Stardom. So let's get it. Then we got another promo for the night. And the Bang Bang Gang were in the back, and they were doing their Bang Bang Gang thing. And Juice Robinson was standing there like he was a statue, and it was very silly. And then it got even sillier because they just continued on talking about how they are better than the Dogs and they're going to neuter the Dogs. And there was this whole bit that took a solid minute to get to the punchline of neutering Dogs. And then Juice Robinson took off his glasses and had more glasses. And then a few seconds later, he took his other glasses and he pulled them apart and set them on his chest. And it was just super silly, and I am a big fan. So I wish, as much as I want 2026 to be the year of the heel, I think that the Bang Bang Gang is definitely one of my favorite factions, and I want them to have nice things. Then we had our second match for the Survival of the Fittest tournament of the night. It was Julia Hart versus Persephone. They gave Persephone the win. It was mildly hard fought. Julia Hart looked like she had the win 2 or 3 times, and Persephone just powered through. And then Julia Hart went to spit the black mist. Persephone slapped her, so she spit it all over the canvas and then got the victory. So Persephone is moving on in the Survival of the Fittest tournament. Julia Hart should have gotten the win on this. That's just my 2 cents. I'll leave it there, and I'll go to the next segment. Mike Bailey went up against Doyle, and that seemed like such an odd pairing for a match like this because Doyle is taller and thicker, and even though Bailey's got the speed, he doesn't have anywhere near the power. So everybody could tell pretty early on that Doyle was going to get the victory, which he did. I'm not mad at it. I just don't understand why Doyle went up against Bailey. It seems like kind of a weird mismatch, even though we've got Kevin Knight in the Don Callis family now, and Doyle is part of the Don Callis family. I think it was just kind of a weird, almost thrown together match, and it didn't need to happen, but it filled 5 minutes. But it was 5 minutes we didn't need to fill, because immediately after that, we went straight into the main event, which was the street fight between the Death Riders and Shane Taylor Promotions. And I've got a problem with that match too, because it's a street fight. It should have happened in the parking lot. There should have been trash cans full of weapons. There should have been a couple of cars. We should have broken a car window. But no, it started essentially on the side steps of the arena, went in the side door, and went straight out to the ring. And the entire match happened around the ring for the most part. And I couldn't even take notes because so much stuff was going on all at once, which is the good part. That entertained me so much. But there was straight quotey fingers involved for about a minute tops before they were back inside the building. And then like chairs were introduced and somebody had one of the connecty rods for turnbuckles to the ring. And then there were 5 tables that got demolished. And Trish Adora was trying to beat up anybody she could, including at one point giving slaps to Claudio. And then Marina Shafir popped back up because she had been taken out by Adora a few minutes earlier. And she took out Adora as far as like pulled her to the ground and then handed her feet to Claudio. And Claudio gave her the big swing. That was very funny. It all culminated in several different ways. Number one, Shane Taylor got some brass knuckles, hit Mox, broke Mox's forehead open, and then they did a whole thing. They powerbombed Mox through a table. That was fun. Then it looked like Claudio was going to try to do something insane with Shane Taylor, but that didn't end up happening. Instead, Lee Moriarty popped up, tried to get Claudio in like an octopus hold. Claudio powered through it and then did this. The amount of strength that man has to pull off weirdness, on top of apparently the agility to stand on top of the guardrail, even though it was for a couple seconds, I'll give you that, is insane. Then there were 2 black bags that came out. One of them held plastic army men, and the other one had a bunch of thumbtacks and glass. And Shane Taylor Promotions ripped the shoes off of Marina Shafir and then smashed her feet into the glass and the tacks. And then she fought through the pain and just kind of rubbed her feet in it and then kicked Trish Adora in the face with a foot full of glass and tacks. It was weird. It was wild. It was unruly. It didn't need to happen, but I'm so glad that it did because it was very entertaining. The Death Riders ended up with the victory throughout, or at the end of all of this. It was such a crazy match. We went like half an hour overtime, and that was a lot, but worth it. It's fun. All of this has been fun. Even half, we didn't need half of these promos. Half of these promos could have been an email, but we still got it all done and everything worked out. And we had a very decent street fight in the end. Like I said, they broke 5 or 6 tables. Everybody seemed to go through a table. It was wild. So with this one in the books, we're a couple weeks away from the next pay-per-view. I hope everybody's having fun. I hope everybody's amped up and ready to go. I know I am, but I'm also tired. So I'm going to wrap this up, hit bed, and I hope you guys, pew, 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 bang, bang. Have a great week. I'll see you Wednesday. Peace.